All right, God-tier enthusiasts, tabletop immortality is ours. Are we ready to take it? And in this vlog, we're going to be exploring, building that Tactica checklist, looking at Nia, one of my favorite champions. Now, of course, if you've been following my God-tier vlogs, my Tactica checklists, I've been pushing them up to my YouTube channel here under the God-tier archive playlist, you're like, Fritz, every champion is your favorite. How can this be? And in many ways, yes. One of the things that I've noticed about God-tier, and this directly plays into Nia, based on a player personality in most wargaming systems and most skirmish systems, we tend to focus on a couple of warbands or champions that we enjoy playing for whatever reason, whatever the tactic is going to be. But God-tier, given the combos, given that you can play 1, 2, 3, 4 or more warbands, and the synergy between them all, I love playing all of them. I love getting behind all of them and discovering and uncovering new combos. And how this leads into Nia, initially I was still kind of in an older skirmish mindset, primarily coming from Games Workshop and all the baggage that those systems pull. This idea being that if it's included in a starter set, it's really not that good, right? It's a starter set. It's there to give you an idea of how to play the game, give you the dice, the tokens, the templates, a little bit of fodder, get you hooked to then start buying other warbands. And look, certainly the starter sets for God-tier are designed to do that. They're designed to show you the game, allow you to play the game, and go out and buy more champions. But then you notice the warbands and the champions in the starter sets are fantastic in themselves. They're as potent, possibly, and we'll make a note to this to review in a follow-up vlog, possibly some of the strongest warbands out there, looking at Titus and Nia. So I was really surprised where it was like, hey, these champions, they've got some bite. They've got some spice. All right. The first thing with Nia is she's a little bit slow. She has the ability to advance slowly. There are not bursts of speed like we see with Blackjaw and some of the other warbands that are out there. So what this means tactically, the first thing I notice is I need to really have an idea of where I'm going. Nia is not so much a reactive, fast-moving champion, but more, this is where I need to be, this is what needs to happen. Now, that makes sense because greens and blues, there are some fast ones, but greens and blues can be a little bit slower because they tend to be more support. They tend to get their points more from objectives, obviously banners, where red slayers, reds and yellows tend to be more wanting to chase down and destroy minions and destroy champions. Not that planting banners and things like that and securing objectives are not important, but Nia's a little bit slow. So I find right away, rather than just suddenly jumping in, taking a step back and looking. The other interesting thing about her is you get a free action if all 3 quartzlings are on the table. And there's a little bit of duality here because sometimes we want to sacrifice the quartzlings. Other times we want to keep them up fully running and good. And also we need to make a decision when to engage and when not to engage. But if the 3 are up, she gets a free action. This is interesting because we can move ability and plant, or move and plant and still have another ability. You plant the banner on there. It gives a lot of tactical flexibility just for having those 3 up. Jumping on the quartzling side, if we lose one or if we sacrifice one, if a quartzling is near an objective, then you can turn it into an objective, and then you can possibly plant. So this puts her very, very defensive and is almost like a ladder token point generating machine, in that I can kind of keep her a little bit towards the back. She has ranged attacks, and the quartzlings have ranged attacks, which is good. They're not super powerful, but they're also not super weak. And we have the ability, of course, to throw on some targeting focuses to increase the dice pool. Solid attacks, if I'm hanging back and I'm objective farming with the quartzlings and I'm planting banners, I get the +1 plant because she's a green. That generates some interesting alpha. That generates some interesting steps on the ladder that work really well in combination with maybe some more aggressive type warbands. So from that perspective, I do find her very straightforward to play, but very, very tactical and very powerful with the ability to support. Now, I'm going to go out on a limb a little bit and offer my opinion with her attacks and the Quartzling's attacks based on some of the other warbands. I think they're a little bit better than average, and this is the strength why I think it puts her up there in the top tier, tier 1 in terms of warbands. And again, that doesn't mean the other warbands are not potent, not powerful. Absolutely they are. But I think the idea behind the starter sets was make them a little bit more beefed up in all possible phases. So this way you could really learn the game. You could just play and have a lot of great experiences just with those starter sets. Her attacks, again, the range attacks of the Quartzlings, pretty decent, pretty solid. Combined with the objective farming, combined with her life, combined with the armor of the Quartzlings, make this warband, make her as a champion, pretty tough. The biggest question, the biggest challenge, the biggest problem of any warband, too many warbands to play. I want to play them all at the same time, but I find that she is a warband that if I'm really open to playing anything, or I have the ability to pick, she works well either way and really